Welcome. Welcome to Diva's Two Cents, where we take complicated matters sometimes and we make them simpler for the masses. I'm Diva Mejias, and I'm so happy that you join us today. We air every Friday at 4 p.m. Central Time. So today, I am so excited to have someone that I think it would be so beneficial for you to hear and learn about. He is a CPA. He is also a Main Street Certified Tax Advisor, MCTA, and without further ado, let me introduce you to him. His name is Charles Njoya. Hold on one second. Hello, Charles. How are you, Charles?
I am doing wonderful. Hey, good morning.
All right.
Hey,
Good morning. Good morning. Oh my goodness.
Excited to be here, Diva. Excited. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, tell me about it, because when I was asked about you, well, how about if you tell me who is Charles, and tell me the correct pronunciation of your name, because I'm not sure I got it quite right, because our names have, like Mejias, people call me all different names, and I'm not sure I got it right. Can you give me the correct pronunciation of your name for our viewers?
It's Njoya.
Joya. Okay.
Yeah, you think
Joya.
about it, Njoya. Somebody was enjoying, so Njoya, right? So
Okay.
that's my name, Njoya.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I apologize there, my dear. Okay. So tell me, Charles, you are a CPA and you are
Yes,
a tax advisor. Tell me,
yes.
being that you have been a CPA for a while, what made you go into the tax advisory realm of this business that we are both in, because we're both in the same network?
That's an amazing question. And let me take a minute and just tell you why. So my name is Charles Njoya. I was, first of all, I was qualified as a chartered accountant in the UK many, many years ago. Then when I moved to the US, I also qualified as a CPA. And I used to work for a company called PricewaterhouseCoopers. It's a big four, it's a large company. When I was in the UK, I was working for PwC. In Africa, I was working for PwC. I left PwC a few years ago as a director and associate partner for PwC. And what we used to do for PwC, because PwC, our main clients were mainly the top 1%, large companies, very large companies, and the very affluent people.
Okay.
And there was something that was very particular with what we did for these people. When we went for meetings, we had a whole team, advisors, attorneys, all the partners. When we worked for these people, our role was basically helping them structure, number one. When we did the audits, it was all about structure, help them avoid taxes. And all the game was always when they had any transaction, we had to look at all the tax codes that were involved in that. How do we make them pay zero in taxes with this transaction? How do we make them pay the least taxes with this transaction? Because the wealth is in the taxes. And we did that for so many years. And when I left PwC, I was in the Midwest. I left PwC because I had good offers from a mid-tier firm, a smaller firm. When I went to this smaller firm, they still had great clients, big companies, but not as large and as affluent as I had at PwC. And I realized that when it came to tax preparation for these clients, it was more about preparation. There was no strategy in it. And there came a time, I remember this client that we worked with, and then I was the leader on the client. I was leading this client, and we did some strategies for the client, and we saved the client. It was not like a great amount. We saved him $98,000 in taxes. And this guy was used to paying a lot in taxes. We saved $98,000 from one thing that we did. And all of a sudden, it was an issue within the firm, because the other partners were like, we have to be careful, we have to be this. And I realized that our mindsets were completely different. The people who need tax savings, they don't get it. And the people who are very affluent, they make all the money, they are getting all these tax savings because they get all these teams working for them. And that's the reason, that's when I decided that I need to run my own firm. I need to have the right people around me And all we're going to be focusing is on the middle class. Because if any person is being screwed in America, is the middle class. Is the middle class. And the reason this happens is because most people don't really understand what structure is all about. We are trained as CPAs to help people pay taxes. As CPAs, we go to school to be trained on how to help people pay the right amount of taxes. But what these people need is people who can help them take advantage of the tax code. Because the tax code, which is what most people don't understand, the tax code itself is a what we call an incentive tool. It helps people to do certain things. And those things that they incentivize you to do are those things that are going to make you wealthy. That's why wealthy people, the game is not about because wealthy people don't pay taxes. The things that you do that make you wealthy, according to the tax code, they give you a lot of tax credits. They give you a lot of incentives not to pay. Because when you get wealthy, America gets wealthier. That is the game. That is the reason we got into this game, to help the middle class, because the middle class are the people who are being screwed in the whole of the game.
You're absolutely right. Now, that's very interesting that you say that. Now, you say you were working with the 1%, right?
Yes.
And now you're transitioning your practice to helping the middle class. So is there a difference? And I'm not saying structure-wise, and I'm not saying money-wise, but mindset-wise. Is there a difference the way the 1% thinks than the middle class, as far as taxes is concerned?
Diva, that's an amazing question, because that's where the game is. The game is here. The game is here. And I know why you're asking that question, because you and I know that the game is here. When you talk to the middle class has been brainwashed to thinking that when you make money, you have to pay taxes. They have been brainwashed to thinking that when you make money, you have to pay taxes. That's not the mindset of the wealthy.
Right.
Because the wealthy always think, I cannot pay a dime to the IRS. That is their mindset. And I tell people all the time, the game is you have to change your mindset in the game. The first thing that has to happen, because when you speak to the general 99% of the middle class people, and middle class is wealthy, some of these wealthy people, and some of the people who are even supposed to be in the top 1%, they don't understand how the system works. They don't understand the game. And their mindset has still been tilted that I am making money, I have to pay taxes. It's here. The first thing you have to decide that I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to pay taxes legally, because the top 1% doesn't pay taxes. If Elon Musk is not paying taxes, why am I paying taxes? If Donald Trump is not paying taxes, why am I paying taxes? If Robert Kiyosaki, all these big names are not paying taxes, why am I paying taxes? And when you answer that question, you will realize that your mindset, go and listen to any of these guys. Their story is about your wealth is in the taxes that you pay. When you give it to the IRS, a third of your income should be going to investment, to acquire assets. And when you acquire assets, what happens? You are basically building wealth. And when you acquire assets in America, because Diva, you and I know that this country is a capitalist country. Capitalism.
Yeah.
People don't understand the meaning of capitalism. Capitalism simply means that someone is screwing another person. That's a game. There is somebody who is screwing another person. And either you are the one screwing the other, or the other one is screwing you. You have to decide. I don't want to be screwed. I want to be the person who is screwing other people. If that's the game, if you don't like it, go to Russia. Because that's where you go to meet communism. And the structure, you have to understand one thing. Capitalism means that The government owns nothing. The government doesn't own anything. And when a government, this same government, wants to basically build roads, build seaports, airports, railroads, they want to build infrastructure, affordable housing, commercial property, real estate. They want to have all these things. But unfortunately, they don't have the capacity, they don't have the know-how, they don't have the money to do it. Now, it's a small government. The only thing, and all of them want to do that thing, because if you want to stay in power, you've got to make me, you've got to make Diva, you've got to make everybody in America live better. And to make them live better, you have to employ people, you have to do all those things. They have to incentivize you and I to do it. How do they do it? They use the tax code. The tax code is that thing that they use to incentivize you and I to doing these things. So the tax code, so when they incentivize all those things that I just enumerated, if you do any of those things, another synonym of that thing is wealth. Because those are assets you acquire. The government doesn't have it. They create an incentive program through the tax code. They will incentivize anybody who does that. And those things that they don't want, guess what? They are going to put high levies, taxes, all on those things. And unfortunately, the middle class is always doing those things that they are helping others to build what David Perez says, build their own economy. You help others to build their own economy. Why can't you build your own economy? The tax code is telling you do this, and you'll get this incentive, this incentive, this incentive, this incentive. You decide that, no, I'm going to accompany someone else do it. So you become the person who is being screwed. And then that person who is doing all those things are enumerated, buying property, this, building roads, they make you wealthy. And when you make that wealth, you don't pay no taxes.
Right.
That is the game.
Right.
We should be playing that game. That's why the wealthy are winning that game. It's all here. Understand that, well, if I am not paying taxes, how do I make sure that I am not paying taxes in America legally? When you start from thinking that way, the next thing is you are going to build wealth. Because it's wealth that makes you not pay taxes.
Absolutely. Now, we have a lot of small business owners out there that are listening to us, right? And they're going to be thinking, well, I'm just a small business owner and I can't afford to do this or that or that. And I think sometimes they look at an asset that they have to buy and the cost of the asset as an expense. And they have to understand that some things that we get in life that we have to pay for is not an expense. It's an investment. Do you find that that's the case in terms of understanding the differences between both of them and what really stops somebody from even someone from going into a tax strategist?
You know, the game again is here. And we are too penny wise to build wealth. We are too penny wise to build wealth. What I mean is this. Most of these people, when somebody gets through my door, and his first question is, how much does this cost? He tells me that you are at the wrong place. You don't understand building wealth. You and I know we are in programs where we pay $50,000 a year to be in that program. It is a mindset thing. And when you're doing this, most CPAs, the reason we are stuck is because we're looking for cheap. We're always looking for that thing that costs nothing. Oh, the price, I want to do my taxes for $500. I want to do my taxes for $200. And that is where you get destroyed. The only way most of our so-called CPAs who are in taxes, because CPA is a bigger word than just taxes. When you call somebody a CPA, their CPAs will do amazing stuff, not just preparing taxes. So for most of those who you meet and you say, I'm going to my CPA, 90% of the time, you go to these guys because, they are not expensive. But what do? They destroy your financial statements. Let me tell you why. And I'll give you an example. Most CPAs believe that the only way Because most of us who are always thinking costs rather than return on investment. Instead of thinking return on investment, we're thinking cost. Most of us who think costs, we are always looking for a refund. How do I get my refund? How do I get that? How do I reduce my taxes to the smallest? And the best way the CPA knows, he says, let's get some expenses, and even things that were assets that were supposed to be capitalized and amortized in a certain way, they put them as expenses. And remember, you and I know one thing, the foundation of your estate from a wealth building standpoint is your tax return. Is that thing they call the 1040, your personal income tax return. When your personal income tax return is prepared by the right person, you can access what we call other people's money, because you build wealth in a capitalist economy by leveraging other people's money. That is called, when you want to buy an asset, they tell you, okay, you want to buy $1 million or $500,000 property, they tell you, bring your tax return, bring 2 years of your tax return. You're going to bring that tax return, which was prepared by a CPA who has no idea about what the lender is looking for. And then you go with that, even though you made $500,000 or 200,000 or you go with a tax return that is showing that you actually make 50,000. You don't qualify. We see a lot of people come to us and, I wanted to buy this, I don't qualify, even though I'm making money, because they at the front side, they have engaged the wrong person, and they've been pushing that person to give them a refund. Then now when they make them show that they don't have no money, they complain. Your wealth is in your tax return. The way you prepare your tax return, if you want to be wealthy, you have to be thinking differently. You should not be thinking costs. You should be thinking, what is the return on this my investment? Where do I want to go? And where you want to, when a client comes to me, the first thing I ask you, where do you want to go? How do you want to do? I want to be wealthy. I want to protect my asset. I want to be save on taxes. I want to build wealth. Then I tell you, this is the game. You build the game by, number one, structure. Structure is everything. And your tax return has to be structured properly. And that is where we play the game. Assets have to be structured properly. And you have to always think, how do I use this tax return to build wealth? Because it's the number one tool to building wealth in America. Whenever you want to buy property, they will ask for your tax return. It has to be done properly. Right. And 99% of the time, we're using the wrong people to prepare those returns.
Right. Absolutely. Now, Charles, yes. where is your office located, and is there a particular industry that you like to work with more so, or that is more at a disadvantage that you like to work with to bring them on the other side?
Yes. Diva, that's a great question. I work a lot with physicians. A lot.
Oh,
I work a lot with physicians. 90% of my practice, I work with physicians. But that doesn't stop me doing the same thing for real estate professionals, for construction workers. I still have some of those on my platform. Yeah. We work a lot with physicians, and our game is to help make you wealthy. There are three things we have built. Okay. And when you think about a strategy firm, you don't think about a strategy person. Right. It's not a person. Right. It's a firm. Because strategy, for you to win in America, you need to have a team that works with you. It's not going to that individual. It is a team of strategists, a team of attorneys, a team of financial planners, a team of accountants, a team of tax preparers, CPAs, a team of real estate brokers, a team of wealth managers, and a team of loan officers, because you need loans to build wealth. You need debt to build wealth. That is the game of America. That's why it's called capitalism. So if you don't see a team like that, the game is not complete. So we are based out of Houston, Texas, and we operate around the United States. Our clients are all over the place in the United States.
Yes. Excellent. And physicians, that's very interesting. Any particular physicians like a podiatrist, a dentist, a psychiatrist? What?
So we work with all of these guys you just called. Whether you are a cardiologist, whether you are a orthoped, whatever, all of them, we put them. They are all I mean, when it comes to strategy, they all look the same on paper because they have the same mindset, they have the same tools, they have the same equipment, they have the same kind of thing. And these, even though we specialize in these people, we work a lot with these people. It's not very different from what you and I will do for the construction worker. It's not very different from what you and I will do for maybe the guy who is maybe an IT specialist. We have a lot of them as well. So all those people, the strategies are there for us to make them wealthy. We do three things for our client, three, all the time. When you come, and these are the three things that give you what you call the structure that you need in America. Number one, because the first thing you need always is you need to start by making money. The process to making money is you start to being wealthy, you have to generate income first. If you don't generate income, I cannot help you. You have to generate some income. Once you start generating income, there is something that's called asset acquisition. People, when they make money, then they start buying their first home, they're buying those things. They need to structure how they acquire those assets. Then now, once you acquire those assets, you want to protect those assets. Those are the key things. Once you're at that point where you're generating income, that's when you want to talk to us. You want to talk to us because when you generate income in America, income pays a lot in taxes. Ordinary income, where you're working yourself, is where you pay a lot in taxes. However, when you start leveraging by acquiring and structuring in order to acquire assets using other people's money, the tax code is inherently biased to when you invest using capital, because it's going to allow some of those debts to be leveraged to wipe off your ordinary income. That is it. So the game is, there are three things that we give to clients. Three. Number one, we give you asset protection. Because you are buying assets, we give you tax mitigation. Mitigation means we avoid you paying taxes. And number three, we help you build wealth. You avoid wealth is kind of the other side of asset of tax mitigation. You only mitigate taxes by making wealth.
Absolutely. Yes. Now, how can someone get a hold of you? Someone's listening and they want to they want to know more about what Charles is doing and how they can do it for them. How do they get you?
You can call, our website is www.CHN, C as in cat, H as in hotel, N as in Nancy, then advisors.com.
Okay, we'll put that in the chat, guys. We're going to put that in the chat so that everyone knows how to get a hold of Charles. He's got such a...
write my name, go online on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. We do a lot of things on Facebook. We do a lot of teachings on there. We tell people how to get there. So if you go on there, on each of those handles, just type my name or you type CHN Advisors, you see all our details there and where you can contact us for us to do business together and for us to help you meet your American dream. The American dream is in something called the tax code. Let no one tell you that the tax code is to make you pay taxes. The tax code is there to make you avoid taxes and be wealthy. That is what the tax code is there for.
Oh, this is wonderful, wonderful. For those of you out there that know me, I always say numbers tell stories. When you take a look at whether it's an individual looking at their numbers on a tax return or whether they're a small business owner or mid-sized business owner, when you take a look at your numbers, what story are you seeing in those numbers? You really, really have to understand them. And it kills me, Charles, when people say, well, I just take my stuff to someone and they take care of it and I don't know. I know I have to pay or I'm going to get money back. Well, no, that's going to stop. And hopefully with what you're getting from my audiences at Diva's 2 Senses, that all has to stop. It is 6 inches sometimes between here and here. Change your mindset, as Charles said. Take a look at this differently. Look at it differently. Because Dr. Dyer says when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So change the way you look at things. Right, Charles?
Absolutely. You know, Diva, I tell people all the time that when somebody walks through my office or calls me, or I'm having a discovery call with somebody and I tell him, how much did you pay in taxes? Like, I paid $50,000 in taxes last year. I'm like, okay. Do you know what tax $50,000 represent? Let's say we're taking just the average. Let's say you just paid, it's a down payment on a property. It will be 10%. That you just paid away $500,000 worth dollars, $500,000 worth of real estate. And that is what you call wealth. You build wealth by assets, by acquiring assets. Every time you give $20,000 to the IRS, you just give them $200,000 worth of assets. That will make you avoid paying taxes in the future. You have to think about this in terms of what is the return on my investment. If you're out there and your CPA is making you pay taxes, then you've outgrown that CPA. You don't want to work with anybody, no matter how nice it is. We are not here for nice. We're here to make money. We're here to win.
Okay.
And if you want to win, work with the people who give you a return on investment. There's a price to it. But you have to think about, how do I get wealthy? You get wealthy by investing in being wealthy. That is the game.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hey, guys, if you like the content that you're hearing, please like, share. Someone out there needs to hear this information. And if it's for you, great. And if it's not for you, that's good as well, because at least now you have knowledge of something you did not know. So thank you so much, Charles. Is there one last thing that you want to give our viewers before we say so long? What do you say?
Let me tell our viewers one thing. Let me give them something like a tip. I tell my viewers every day, we have a lot of these employers who have kids who are growing their kids. The kids grow and they grow up and they leave the company. Every day, these children are working with you in your business. You're sending them, go get me this, get me that. One of the biggest reasons we change our whole story and become wealthy is there is this small thing called employing your kids. If you structure yourself correctly and you put your kids on a normal, you don't have to change nothing. Just put them and be paying them minimum. Pay them a minimum income in the structure. There's a structure for that. Be very careful. Otherwise, if you try to do it and you just don't know how to do it, the IRS will reject all of it. It doesn't mean a thing. But employing kids is one of the things that it's clearly in the tax code. It's one of the biggest benefits for entrepreneurs. So if you have a business, you have kids, they are growing, you start employing your kids at the age of 7. That is a tax rule. I mean, you can employ kids as long as they are providing something that's necessary, ordinary and necessary for the business. What's ordinary and necessary? Sweeping your office, doing this, sending them to clean that. So all of that is ordinary and necessary. Make sure you structure, pay them. And if you pay them, you take that money at the age of 7, 9, 10, put it in the Roth IRA, and then by the time that child graduates, you put that money 1, 2 times at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, up to the age of 18. By the time that child retires, that money is over $1 million for putting 1 time, for putting it 2 times. So that is what we call building generational wealth tax-free. That child just created wealth for your next generation, and that is tax-free. That is what the wealthy have done in this country forever. We need to change our mindsets. The game is here. The game is here. And again, this thing might sound this, but that is the way that I've told people, change your story. Change the story of your family by doing those small things that we just let go because we don't have the right people to tell us how to do it. So again, the game is here. Change your mindset, and then you're going to be wealthy. Thank you.
Charles, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you, okay? You take care. We'll talk to you soon. Hey, guys, look in the chat. We're going to have his information. Reach out to him, get some knowledge, and let's get going. Numbers tell stories. And that, my friend, is Diva's 2 cents.